My twin brother was the golden child, the one who inherited our mother's success model DNA, while I was treated like a genetic glitch. For 25 years, I watched him walk through doors that slammed shut in my face, while our mother watched him with a pride she never shared with me. They thought I was the shadow, the silent background noise to his highlight reel. But what they didn't realize is that shadows are where you learn how to move unseen and how to build a kingdom while everyone else is busy looking at the sun. Growing up as a twin in a suburban American household is supposed to mean having a built-in best friend. For me, it meant living in a constant state of comparison where I was always the before photo. My brother, Leo, was the embodiment of our mother's obsession with prestige. He was the varsity captain with the Ivy League trajectory, the one for whom every door swung open as if by magic. I remember the graduation dinners where the air was thick with the scent of expensive steak and my mother's glowing praise for Leo's inherent brilliance. Meanwhile, my acceptance to a local state school was treated like a polite tragedy. I sat there, nursing a glass of water, feeling like a ghost at my own table. The disparity wasn't just about grades or sports, it was the way the world leaned toward him while I was left fighting for scraps of oxygen. While Leo spent his summers interning at top-tier firms in Manhattan, offers he landed with a single phone call, I was working double shifts at a diner and a warehouse just to cover my books. I'd come home with grease under my fingernails and an ache in my back, only to hear my mother lecturing me about focus while she pinned Leo's latest accolade to the fridge. It was a silent, grinding heartbreak. I started to doubt if I even belonged in the same bloodline, wondering if I was simply not designed for the success she craved. Read hook, but then, during a rainy Tuesday night in a cramped library basement, something inside me shifted. I realized that while Leo was being handed the keys to the kingdom, he never learned how to pick a lock. And I was becoming an expert. The emotional justice didn't come from a loud confrontation or a dramatic exit. It came from silence. I stopped explaining myself at Sunday dinners. When my mother would ask why I wasn't more like Leo, I'd just offer a tight, calm smile and go back to my laptop. They thought I was retreating in defeat. In reality, I was building. While Leo was navigating the high society circles of his dream job, I was teaching myself code, marketing, and the gritty mechanics of a startup from a desk made of 2 milk crates and a plywood board. Every rejection letter I received, and there were hundreds, became the fuel. I learned to love the uphill battle because it was making my legs stronger than Leo's could ever be on his silver platter path. I watched from the sidelines as Leo began to struggle with the first real pressure he'd ever faced. Without the connections to carry the actual workload, his dream job started to look like a nightmare. But my mother refused to see the cracks. She was too busy maintaining the image. I stayed in the shadows, working 3 jobs, pouring every cent and every hour into a project that no one knew existed. I wasn't looking for a break anymore, I was looking for a breakthrough. The turning point came on Thanksgiving. Leo arrived late, looking haggard and smelling of expensive scotch, while my mother made excuses for his executive stress. She didn't notice the sleek black car in the driveway, or the fact that for the first time in years, I wasn't wearing a hand-me-down sweater. There is a specific kind of tension that fills a room when the failure suddenly stops acting like one. That Thanksgiving, I didn't talk about my struggles. I didn't complain about the part-time jobs or the rejections. I just sat there, anchored by a new kind of self-belief that made my mother visibly uncomfortable. Leo was rambling about a major tech project his firm was failing to launch. He looked at me with a smirk and said, "Don't worry, little bro, maybe you can get a job in their mailroom once I fix it." The table went quiet. My mother offered a small, forced chuckle, her eyes darting to me to see if I'd shrink. Instead, I pulled out my phone and showed her a press release from that morning. My startup had just been acquired by the very firm Leo was struggling to impress. I wasn't looking for a job in the mailroom, I was the reason his department was being restructured. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet, it was heavy. The success model mom looked at the screen, then at me, then at Leo. The realization that the twin she had overlooked was now the one holding her favorite son's future in his hands was a pill she couldn't swallow. Read hook, but the real, quiet revenge wasn't the money or the title. It was the moment my mother's eyes filled with tears, not of pride, but of a devastating, crumbling realization of how much she had underestimated the son who actually worked for his life. The aftermath was a slow, reflective burn. My mother didn't apologize with words, she wept. She wept because the narrative she had built her identity on, that privilege and ease were the only marks of worth, had been dismantled by the child she'd left in the dark. I didn't gloat. I didn't mock Leo. That's the beauty of emotional justice. When you've truly built yourself from nothing, you don't need to tear others down to feel tall. I offered Leo a position at the new firm under a manager who wouldn't care about his last name. It was the first time I'd ever seen him truly look at me, not as a shadow, but as a person. Hard work doesn't just beat privilege, it creates a foundation that privilege can't comprehend. Looking back at the years of rejection letters and double shifts, I realized they weren't setbacks. They were the training ground for a life I now own completely on my own terms. My mother's success model has changed now. It's no longer about who opens the door for you, but about who has the strength to kick it down when it's locked. If you're out there right now, feeling like the overlooked twin or the invisible friend, keep building in the dark. Your light is coming, and it will be much brighter because you're the one who turned it on. Have you ever been the underdog in your own family? I'd love to hear how you found your own path to success in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of resilience.